Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Should never allow a politician to get up in front of a mic.
I want to lead. I want to be a leader working forward, not just a follower.
That is just a little advertisement for Willow Bank. Yes, I am shameless. I suppose I also have the extreme pleasure of having represented the people of Niagara-on-the-Lake for a number of years. I don't exactly even know what the number is, but it's under 100, probably over 15.
Dennis was larger than life.
Was really working hard for the community.
A man full of integrity.
Effective and dedicated public servant.
He knew this town inside and out.
He was friendly.
Sweet.
His laugh was contagious, and it would sometimes lighten the mood.
One of the most genuine, authentic people.
His honesty was probably the key to a lot of things that Dennis did.
As a friend, he was a friend, true in and out.
He was a really great guy.
He always seemed to be on top of his game.
He had a very compassionate nature.
A strong character, very determined.
He was a real family man, and he still had a lot to do. He still loved his town.
I grew up with Dennis. Going over to his place was kind of an experience because he had so many relatives, and they'd be over there, and so we'd have 8, 9, 10 kids playing games, and you know there's going to be fights and all kinds of things, but it was just, yeah, as kids we were full of, well, I can't say that, but you know, vinegar. Yeah, lots of good memories.
So Dennis and Shirley were dating, and our families, the Workingtons, which Shirley was a Workington, we're good friends ever since we were little. Our families used to do family things together. So when she met Dennis, that's when we met Dennis. He was in the Virgil Volunteer Fire Department along with my husband. So they did a lot of dinners and things like that. Dennis's prayers were amazing.
Denny at this table and away from the table was the same person. He cared about people. He truly wanted to help. He wanted to make Niagara-on-the-Lake better. He was a great family man. He loved looking after his children. He loved the fact that he was able to see Jake get married. And you know, Denise has a daughter. He was the perfect Opa for her.
I remember when he filed his papers for alderman, and I thought, now there's a good, honest person who will represent the residents of the township.
I remember Dennis with his strong voice, his strong opinions, and really admired. We had to know what we were doing when we were talking with Dennis. He brought so much to the table and wasn't afraid to talk about any issue, was well versed in pretty well everything that we dealt with in those times. And so it was a privilege for me, and I look back with the fondest of memories.
When I think of Dennis, sorry I'm laughing, but when I think of Dennis, I think of the Ice Wine Festival, and when it's bitter, bitter cold, and he and Shirley would man one of the token booths. And, you know, the token was, let's say it was $3 a token or $30 for the festival pack. And he would be out there convincing people. Festival pack's the only way to go. And just hearing him with his sales pitch, and he'd worked on it, what to say, how to convince people. And he truly was convincing, and he had people laughing, and people in the lineup and buying the tokens. It added, for me and to those that were there, it really added to the wonderful warmth and ambiance of the festival. And that was Dennis's gift. He could share things, he could share his exuberance. It was great to see.
He was just an average Joe, and I mean that in the greatest sense, where he was a friend to everybody. It's always nice to have local people that you can call and speak to and get their help, and he was always there for me. Just a great guy to be around, and knowledgeable, fun, friendly, and that makes every job that you have to do or every conversation you have to have, it goes that much better and that much quicker.
When I first came to the town, didn't know a lot about municipal government, and I was able to talk to him kind of like a normal person. So it was nice. It was nice to have that. Dennis and I worked together on the Christmas Parade Committee, so him and I had a lot of fun wrangling all the bands and events and goings on. The float him and I worked on. We were just trying to get one more year. Every time it was one more year out of it. But every time we needed something for the Christmas parade, Dennis is like, I got a guy, and pick up the phone, call him right at the meeting.
His passion was not just around this council table, but it was all the other things he did outside of this council table that he did, because he loved this community. I mean, he was known for his passion for agriculture. I learned so much from him. Oh my gosh, how do you know this, Dennis? It's just easy, Maria, it's just easy, right? You just know it. And but that was because of his years of being a farmer, working on the farms, but also his keen interest to learn. And I honestly think there will be a huge void that will never be filled.
Councillor Dennis Dick, without the least hesitation, always rose to these challenges. His record as a councillor speaks for itself. I always remember him for his passionate dedication to his constituents, and his, again, unfaltering sense of humor, even during the most trying of times. He was a constant source of reassurance to the Mennonite community, especially the older ones, that their beliefs and traditions and that their representation in a rapidly changing township was guaranteed.
Dennis was one of those councillors where you could have a very heated debate. You might disagree completely on issues. And while we didn't necessarily agree on the outcomes, we always were able to go out for a beer after or have a cup of tea at Silks and just chat and really listen to each other even more, to in addition to what we had talked about at council. So I think for me that really embodies a great politician, a great person, and I have the utmost respect for what Dennis contributed to this community. And he was a great leader. He was not shy about his opinions. Another thing I loved about him.
Before I sat beside him at council, I worked the front gate at the Virgil Stampede with him for years and years and years. And whenever somebody that was coming in questioned the validity of asking for money to enter the grounds, Dennis would never argue with him, never try to explain anything. He just sent it back to one of us, usually me. You'd always see Dennis looking back and laughing at us. And, that was Dennis, right? He was a fun guy, lots of humor.
When he entered a room, people knew Dennis was in the room. His voice carried. You could hear him from a mile away. But more than that, I think Dennis had a real passion for what he did. And that was evident in everything that he did and every relationship that he had. Dennis really did care about making Niagara-on-the-Lake the best that it could possibly be. And I think his service coincided with a time of enormous growth within our town. And I think a lot of the infrastructure and things that we enjoy today have a lot to do with the foresight of councillors like Dennis Dick. And for that, I think our community should really be grateful for his service.
For a guy who came across as sort of gruff and grumbly, blue jeans, sweatshirt type of guy, he cared about the heritage of this town. He cared about the direction of the town. He always said to me, "Don't worry, Flinny, it's all good. It's all good." And every time we wanted to, talk to him about something, well, what do you think about this? It's all good, Flinny. It's all good. So, always made me feel better.
He was a person who worked really hard in our community, especially behind the scenes. Dennis I go, "Oh, Dennis, I didn't know you were doing that." And he would say, "Oh, it's no big deal." I'm like, well, I think that people are really realizing what Dennis did in our community. I think that's the key thing that Dennis always brought to every conversation, was what he'd always say, well, what's good for the community? And I think that that was always Dennis's strong point. He just loved this town.
The best thing I remember about Dennis, he was just his duty and honor that he had in his position. And I really want to thank him for what he has done for this town. I don't think there's a lot of people that could say they have given to this town as much service as you would see that Dennis Dick has.
He was a very energetic person and a tireless advocate for the farming community. During the development of the official plan for Niagara-on-the-Lake, Dennis worked hard to ensure that the official plan truly represented the uniqueness of the farming area in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and he also worked hard to make sure that it adopted policies that addressed that uniqueness.
This community is much better off where it is today than with him as a previous councillor. Some of the things that we've done here in the community are here because he helped back them.
He always put family first and then the other interest afterwards. And that's what I always admired and respected about him. The fact that both of his children now work for the town is amazing. It speaks volumes to what he thought about the town and what he instilled in his children as well about this community.
Yeah, I just really enjoyed his smile. And his hellos were genuine. He just loved to see everyone. He made everybody feel like they were his family. The town was his family.
A lot of us have lost a great friend, and the community has lost a great friend. He really cared about where he lived, and I truly believe the reason he was on council was to serve.
I was at Bethany Church one Christmas as my son played drums in the band and had the privilege of hearing Dennis read a scripture. It was very uplifting and spiritual listening to him speak. Dennis was a conscientious man with integrity, a welcoming smile, and boisterous laugh. He was a friend, and I will miss him.
From an agricultural perspective, Dennis will be sorely missed by many, including me. I was very proud to call Dennis my friend.
Oh, that's a hard question. What am I going to miss? Everything.
His laughter. Yeah. His laughter and his advice.
Oh, probably his humor. Dennis had a dry humor, and he had a sense of when to use it in a council meeting or anywhere else.
I'm gonna miss seeing Dennis in his jeans and work boots. He was always there for you. If you called Dennis up and you had a problem in your business, in the business community, and you needed him to come and help and do some work, you could count on him. And he would be there. And he was there for all of us in many ways.
I would say I'm going to miss having him beside me. The voice of reason.
I always found if I had questions or things I was trying to understand, I could go to Dennis in a really fair way and understand what was the issue at hand. And Dennis was really good at doing that. I'll miss that.
I will miss hearing his voice.
His inside voice, which didn't exist. He only had an outside voice. It wasn't, hey, what's going on? It's, what's going on?
When he spoke with authority like it was coming down on high.
You could hear him from quite a distance away.
His voice was strong.
I mean, it boomed in this chamber.
And it's not, you have to speak loudly. It was strong. And there's a difference, just volume and strength.
I'll always remember whenever he comes in, it's how are ya? But it's like 18 times louder, and it's the firmest handshake, I think. Well, there's a couple other people, but his handshake was like top 3 of like firmness.
He was special.
He was just there for everyone. Everybody else came first.
Yeah, I've lost a close friend.
Dennis is one of those ones that, yeah, he just was a person that I admired, I looked up to. It's a huge loss.
He was a very good person, and we'll miss him.
hope that in the next 4 years, the things that you do are going to make Niagara-on-the-Lake a better place than it was when you first started. If you can do that, then you'll have no regrets. So I wish you all the best, and for all the people of Niagara-on-the-Lake, I thank you very much.